raised as a Hindu. I speak about India freely, and it makes a difference to a lot of people. Today, India is the most emerging, amazing power. The way Mr. Narendra Modi.
From the Republic Media Network headquarters, it's time for Arnab Goswami on the debate. Arnab Goswami on the debate.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, time now for the nation's sharpest opinion. We as a news network, as India's leading news network, are very, very concerned about the situation in Bangladesh. In fact, some of the visuals that our newsroom has got are terrible. There are Hindus who are bleeding, who have been lathi charged, who are fighting for their lives, protesting. And then you have, of course, the continued persecution of very well-known Hindu scholar and leader Chinmoy Krishna, who faces a sedition charge against him and who continues to be in jail. He's hardly getting any food. We're very concerned for his safety. Chinmoy Krishna, a very popular young Hindu leader, and the Ministry of External Affairs here has reacted to his arrest and denial of bail. We all know, dear viewers of Republic, that the Mohammad Yunus government, which is supported by the army, has been very intolerant towards Hindus, and that Hindu properties have been targeted, Hindus have been attacked, and this Hindu phobia is absolutely real. We know that there has been continuous persecution of Hindus in Bangladesh, but the situation has become very extreme in the last 3 months. While all of this happens, there is a global call for Hindu unity, and the good thing is that while we see pictures of this brave monk who is fighting for his rights, getting support from across the world, while we see these pictures, Hindus are also coming together through legal, peaceful but vocal means, speaking up against Hindu phobia. And I am very proud that tonight, in a couple of minutes, we will be joined by India's foremost spiritual guru, Gurudev, Sri Ravishankar, who will be joining us. He's already live with us. Gurudev, Pranam Charan Sparsh. Thank you for joining us. Before we go across and speak to you, Gurudev, I would like to run a small news report on the present situation in Bangladesh this evening.
एक है तो बांग्लादेश में देख रहे हो ना, वो गलतियां यहाँ नहीं होनी चाहिए। भारत हिंदू राष्ट्र की, भारत हिंदू राष्ट्र की।
In Bangladesh, Yunus police jailed a top Hindu voice, Chinmoy Krishna Prabhu. Not only did they jail him without explanations, his bail has been denied, sparking fresh protests in Bangladesh. Hindu leaders have heavily come down upon the Yunus regime.
ये आवाज़ें दबाई जा रही हैं, वहाँ के हिंदुओं को सड़कों पर निकलना चाहिए। हम आपके वीडियो के माध्यम से कहना चाहेंगे, वहाँ के हिंदू अगर सनातन की आवाज़ को दबाना चाहते हैं तो घरों में बिल्लियों की तरह छुपे रहें, चूहों की तरह छुपे रहें, वरना हिंदुत्व की शेरनी का दूध पिया हो, घर से बाहर निकलें और सनातन के सिपाही को बचाएं, और इसीलिए बचाएं ताकि तुम्हारे मंदिर मस्जिद ना बन जाए।
It is unbecoming of a Prime Minister of a neighbouring country to arrest a spiritual leader. He is not taking weapons, he is not taking guns, he is caring for his people. He is just standing up for the rights and want government to hear the atrocities that is being happening on the minorities there. and arresting a religious priest is not going to do any good to them or to the people or to the country or even the image of Bangladesh.
Since Yunus government's takeover of Bangladesh, violence against Hindus has only increased with every passing day. However, the ones saying all eyes on Rafah have now become radio silent about the situation in Bangladesh. At a time when even President-elect Donald Trump took to social media to voice concerns about the situation in Bangladesh, some leaders in India are still silent. The convenience-based activism of some has become too difficult for it to be brushed under the carpet. The liberal woke lobby has once again been caught sleeping while global Hindu phobia continues to be on the rise.
Gurudev, how do you view the situation in Bangladesh following the arrest of Chinmoy Krishna and the protests that have erupted across the country, not just there, but across India as well, in West Bengal and across the world?
It's so shameful for a country like Bangladesh, which was known for it being a liberal country, which has been supported by India even for its existence from the very first day, to treat their minorities the way they are treating it. You know, when Bangladesh came into existence, there were 30% of the population were Hindus, and today there are only 8%. And even these 8% of the population are reeling in fear. They are living in such uncertainty. I mean, this is inhuman. By no standard, this shows any civilization of modern times. So people must raise their voice, and then look at this. A monk there is standing up for the people, and he has been arrested, and he's been denied bail. I mean, please I would say them to keep the politics away from religion. Make sure that you take care of those radical elements who would ransack your country's peace and prosperity and take it backward. Instead of doing that, you are really unleashing such a terror on the people and the peace-loving people and people who have contributed to the economy of Bangladesh.
Gurudev, you know ISKCON well, and Sri Chinmoy Krishna is one of the most prominent leaders and icons of ISKCON in Bangladesh. What do you feel about ISKCON as an organization being linked with charges such as sedition and terrorism?
Look, ISKCON is present in so many countries around the world.
Exactly.
So many countries. They are in Russia, they are in Gulf countries, they are in South America, they are in North America and African countries. They have never been charged with sedition or not being loyal to their own country where they are. You can't blame someone who is living in a country who follows Hinduism as not being honest or being loyal to their own country. Religion and the country are two different things. See, there are Christians living in India. We don't think that they are only, they are loyal only to Vatican. There are Muslims living in India. They are fully Indian Muslims and who are so full of Deshbhakt. They have many Muslims in India. They identify themselves with only India. Like that, Bangladesh Hindus, they identify themselves with only Bangladesh. So it's a confusion or mixing up nationality with religion and falsely accusing a priest of being, sedation.
Yes.
I think it's unfortunate. It's not going to do any good for Bangladesh, Arnab.
It won't. I just saw while we were just preparing to get you on live, a statement has come out from the Bangladesh government, which says that these are internal matters and that the arrest of Sri Chinmoy Krishna Das on quote-unquote specific charges, does not specify what those charges are, and says that this is an internal matter. Now, to some extent, technically, the government of Bangladesh can argue that it's an internal matter, but is it? Is it not a humanitarian matter? Is it wrong for Hindus across the world to feel concerned about what is happening to the Hindu community in Bangladesh?
Human rights is a global issue. I would say, Mr. Professor Mohammad Yunus, you have won the Nobel Peace Prize. You know human rights and human values are a global issue. Like the weather could be an internal issue, but today weather is a global issue. Similarly, violence is not limited to one country, or if a country is suffering of any cause, every other country pitches in. When there is COVID, we didn't say it is your internal matter. We don't need to do anything about COVID.
Yeah.
Entire world comes, if there is a flood in Bangladesh, all other countries don't turn their face away saying it's your internal matter. The entire world comes to you and stands shoulder by shoulder to you and help you. Similarly, if you are really, causing such a, issue which would create fear in a certain population of your country based on religion, and people around the world will stand up and take notice of it.
I think the important point that you have raised here, Gurudev, is that our relationship with Bangladesh runs very deep. We have, as you have said, played a very key role in the emergence of an independent Bangladesh in 1971. But not just that, we have also provided shelter to an estimated 10-11 million refugees during that liberation war. We are one of the first countries to recognize Bangladesh as a separate state. And our cultural connections run very deep, which predate our modern political boundaries. So I think it's wrong to look at this as quote unquote an internal matter. There's a very bad situation there, and Bangladesh is a crucial neighbor to us. We are also a crucial neighbor to Bangladesh. Do you think somewhere the Yunus government is falling into the trap of extremist groups, Islamist extremist groups, and is having to pander to that?
No, I have already said that radical elements should be reined in, and they should not be allowed to ransack the country and the peace and prosperity of a nation. Why would so many Hindus would come on the street if their security is not threatened, if their properties are not burnt? They would come.
My concern also is, Gurudev, that sometimes, these situations are created by governments who are not able to handle an economic situation, or who are not able to handle a law and order situation, who are not able to handle an energy crisis. We saw reports of an energy crisis, that the Bangladesh government not able to pay its power bills to the Adani group. These are, of course, economic matters, but I think governments must be concerned and wary that they can't distract people from the real issues that face them, I hope you get a sense of where my direction of my question is, that you can't distract angry people by making them focus on targeting the Hindu community. It's not a resolution to the intrinsic problems of Bangladesh.
You're absolutely right, Arnab. Targeting the minority is not going to help them. And it's not a small number. Even if it's a small number, even then, it is the onus of protecting them is on the government. That's 8% of Hindus of that country, and what must be happening in them if their homes are looted and burned, their shops are looted, and not just Hindus, and people who support Hindus are also any right-minded people, anyone with some sense will all stand for the rights of the minorities there. And they are doing it. So you cannot take for granted a population that can be ruled by suppression. The voice of young people, of the Hindu community, and those who support human rights, they all stand together to condemn this act. World over, I'm telling you, not just in Bangladesh. Any such human rights violation will be supported, will be condemned, and people will support those victims of human rights violation from around the globe.
Your voice carries a lot of weight, Gurudev, and people look up to you. Hindus, people follow you spiritually, global leaders follow you, Gurudev. What is your message to Hindus in Bangladesh and Hindus across the world who feel very, very upset at what is going on in that country?
No, see, peaceful protest is a right of every citizen of the world, I would say every citizen of every country. And they should be given, they should be heard, and sense should prevail, you know.
Well, I'm sure it will, and I feel your words will go a long way. Gurudev, Sri Ravishankar, I'm most grateful to you that you've lent your voice to this very important subject in a very critical time. Thank you very much, Pranam, and thank you for joining me on Republic this evening, Gurudev.
Wonderful, yeah.
Thank you, sir. Well, it was good to have Gurudev Sri Ravishankar with us, set the theme for this conversation. I have with us the Director of ISKCON Communications, Yudhishthir Govinda Das. I have with us also Pandit Satish Sharma, who is a very well-known Hindu scholar and activist from